As a doctor, I'm always looking out for problems. My goal is to support people to improve their health. And I don't want anything to happen to a patient that's preventable that we could have foreseen and we didn't put a plan into action to either look out for it or deal with it when it happened. When we're looking at prediabetes or type 2 diabetes, this is a really important area. When we not only do we want to stop it getting worse, and therefore for me as a doctor it's important to help patients recognise what could happen if we don't take action and how it could potentially affect their quality of life and increase their risk of things like heart attacks and strokes and foot ulcers and loss of sensation in their feet and eye problems and kidney problems and all those miserable things. But also, if we're going to improve it, what might we need to look out for on the way that could cause problems? So I think top of the list, because we're often talking about behaviours, what I don't want anyone to feel is like they're a failure. So when we're trying to improve prediabetes or type 2 diabetes, we are changing our lifestyle. And that can be tough. And the last thing we want is anyone to feel emotionally crushed or depressed or anxious when they're trying to make these changes and they're not succeeding as much as they would like to. So top of the list is, as a doctor with my patients, I remove judgment. We have this kind of strict rule that we should not judge our behaviours as good or bad. We can judge them as helpful or unhelpful, but we should not judge them as good or bad. So that's the first area. The next area is to think about, is there any other psychological challenges that a patient has? So many people have emotional issues related to food and eating habits that have often been with them since childhood. And if those are overlooked, as a doctor, I can actually end up doing a lot of harm because I'm recommending dietary changes without considering the impact this could happen on the patient's mental well-being, mental health, and emotions. So I'm very cautious, again, not to demonize any food. We don't want to be making people feel bad about food in any way, shape, or form. And we want to fit it around their preferences. So that's a key area. Now, in the more physical health arena, the areas I'm always on the lookout for are what is going to happen to their body if they do change their lifestyle and especially change their diet. Well, some key areas are blood pressure can improve. So the processes that cause prediabetes and type 2 diabetes in the first place can also cause blood pressure to go up. And many patients are on blood pressure tablets because of that. As they make lifestyle change to improve their blood sugar and their health, this leads to an improvement in blood pressure. And if we're not careful, they might then end up on too many blood pressure tablets for their new, healthier state. So I ask patients to look out for if they're feeling lightheaded or dizzy, especially when they stand up. This could be a sign their blood pressure has gone too low. We need to check their blood pressure and potentially reduce or stop medication. If they have a blood pressure monitor at home, I often encourage them to check their blood pressure at least a couple of times a week, and they'll be able to see what direction it's heading in. Third, so we've had the psychological issues, we've got the blood pressure. Third area is, well, we're expecting some changes to happen in the body. So we may expecting the body to lose some fat. We may expect blood pressure to improve, but everything should be moving in a helpful direction and the person should be feeling more healthy. If at any point a person's feeling less healthy than they were to start with, something's not right. When we improve our health, we should feel better. If somebody is feeling worse and their body's not working as well, or they're losing more weight than they're expecting to, this could flag a problem. And as a doctor, I would want a patient to tell me immediately if they're experiencing concerns. And then we can understand, is this related to the changes they're making, or is there another problem going on? And this is me as a doctor always thinking about worst case scenario and what can go wrong, whether or not it's related to the problem we're dealing with in the first place, or it's an unrelated problem. Finally, everybody is different. Everybody's physiology is different. Most people with prediabetes and type 2 diabetes, it's related to this onset of excess belly fat around the middle and this process of insulin resistance that people experience. And addressing lifestyle factors and certainly addressing nutrition can often fix that, and blood sugar improves and they get healthier. However, for some people, there may be a very different process going on in the body. They presented to me in the same way as everyone else, but actually their body was up to something quite different. And we need to be vigilant for that. One of the key areas I'm always looking for is if somebody's losing weight and if they're losing belly fat, but their blood sugar's going up, that's not expected. And this could indicate that there's another problem with the pancreas, or there's a different type of diabetes developing. And whenever I review a patient after 2 to 3 months, if we review their blood test, the HbA1c blood test, and it's gone up, and yet every other marker of health and their weight has gone down, I will be suspicious that we need to look out for other problems. So that's me as a cautious doctor of what I am looking for with patients, how I'm communicating with patients. I want to make sure we're improving our mental health and mental well-being. I want to make sure that we are adjusting medication and blood pressure medication appropriately, and also with type 2 diabetes, we're adjusting type 2 diabetes medication appropriately. I want them to let me know if they're feeling worse at any point, because that's not expected. And at the 2 to 3 month check-in, if blood sugars or if blood sugars got worse and yet they've lost weight and otherwise got healthier, I'll be questioning, have we got the wrong diagnosis, or is there something else going on in their body?